Well, go ahead then.
Well, hey, how you doing? I am Pastor Phil, and welcome to Victory Talk with Lady J and her girl Key. So, how's everyone doing? This is the marriage edition. This is the marriage edition where we just, as couples, sit back and just come on and just conversate about things in married life. Amen. Lady J, come on.
Well, you cut me off, so I was just gonna let you go. So
You announce everybody. It ain't enough for you to
he
say.
did.
Hey.
Did he even introduce me, Sean? Like, okay, I don't know.
Oh, you know what? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. So on the screen was okay. We got Lady J, we got Key, and we got my brother from another mother. There is like no other. Me, Sean Noble.
We're gonna turn this show up, bro.
What's crack-a-lacking, baby?
We're gonna turn it up a notch tonight.
We gonna turn it up a notch.
I caught the fact that they seen me looking at him crazy as soon as that daggone timer started. So y'all already know it's about to go down.
But wait a minute, I gotta ask this question, right? Hey, Ronette, welcome to Victory Talk. Hey, Panetta. So I gotta ask this question. Did y'all hear the introduction he gave for me, Sean? This my wife, Lady J. And this a girl Key. And on the screen we had my brother from another mother.
Listen, you right, Jack. You right, sis. I'll do the introductions. So we have my wonderful wife, Key. We have the beautiful Lady J. Then we got the world-renowned, one of the greatest of all time, the man, the one and only, Pastor Philip Miller Sr. How you doing, brother?
I am doing well, thank you, everyone.
You know what?
Okay. So y'all can already see this show gonna be a little bit off the chain. It's a little bit off the chain. It's the first show of the year, y'all. So y'all just rock with us. Y'all, if y'all not new to Victory Talk, the marriage edition, so y'all already kind of know that it gets a little crazy. So just bear with us. We are talking about emotional wellness in your marriage tonight. So that's one of, that is our main focus. And so with that being said, I want to, just say this is not part of my opening, but what I want to say is how important laughter is to your psyche, your emotional wellness, to just overall your life, yourself, your marriage. Listen, if you're not laughing in your marriage, if you can't make light of some stuff in your marriage, you need to check some stuff in your marriage. Because it take a full-time job to keep these guys on the straight and narrow. So I'm just trying to, let y'all know that it's important to laugh. It's okay to laugh. Shoot, laugh at yourself if you need to. Well, not if you need to, when you need to. Right, Key?
Yes, absolutely.
And so we just want y'all to text somebody, call somebody, tell somebody Victory Talk is on. It's the marriage edition, and you have no idea whether or not your blessing and for your marriage is right here tonight. We're gonna drop some nuggets, some knowledge, and some wisdom. It's 17 years right here, y'all. 17 years. We've been together 18 years.
Wow.
Yes, yeah.
I only trade cards at 4 years.
He is an 18-year survivor, Lord. And I don't know, y'all. I don't know.
But you know what? You know what? You get a car in probably about 4 years, you start cruising the lots and you start seeing what's the new model. But you have to realize, first of all, you lose half on trade-in.
Oh, there it is.
Then there's always all of that upkeep of that new model. So, man,
what you talking about?
Well, we done finally made it to the double digits, so I feel like we not, babies no more. We made it. We made it to double digits, y'all. He's still breathing for today. So
that part.
Well, you got past that 5-year mark. Them first 5 years, those are the hell years. And we all strive to get past those first 5 years.
So what comes after the first?
All right, Ronette. So you heard it. You heard it here. You got a little bit of time, boo. Hang in there.
Them first 5 years. Listen, we talking about emotional wellness. In them first 5 years, you gonna feel like, Lord, what did I do? What did you let me do? This man you sent to find me, because
you know what? Ho. You making it all sweet. Let me tell you the truth. In them first 5 years, there was a time I was laying in the bed and said, how can I set her on fire and not get caught? That's the first 5 years.
Oh my Lord. And then what he didn't tell y'all is within that first 5 years, we were both in the bed one night. We had some heated fellowship. Okay. And like we was not talking to each other. Don't even blink in my direction. And then in that season, we were in a full-size bed. We was in a full-size bed still, right? Yeah. We were in a full-size bed.
Queen-size bed.
No, we hadn't gotten the queen yet.
Okay.
No, we was in a full-size bed.
Same difference.
And so, in a full-size bed, you're going to turn over and you turning over to each other. You got to breathe.
You got to learn to get along.
You got to learn how to get along. But you got to breathe on each other. You can't, if one of y'all cut the cheese, come on now, let's keep it real. If one of y'all cut the cheese, you feel like you're going to vomit in your own mouth. it gets that kind of bad. But this night we had heated fellowship, okay? I was livid with this brother and he was hot with me. Both of us were laying in the bed trying to figure out how we could kick the other one off the bed without them realizing we had kicked them off the bed.
At least y'all was still in the bed, because over here somebody was on the couch. And it wasn't me.
Like
you put me on the couch, I volunteered.
You did.
Right.
I think you knew it was safer down there.
See, let me tell you something.
I ain't trying to go to jail.
Let me tell you something. I've always said, you ain't going to put me out the bed that I paid for. That ain't going to happen. I'll go voluntarily, but you ain't going to put me out.
We done seen many of these shows.
So you went voluntarily?
Sir, I blacked out. I don't know what happened. I don't know why I body slammed this. Sir.
You ain't want to feel that wrath.
I believe that the sofa, the man cave, was all created for life-saving measures.
Let me tell you something. When we bought the house,
life-saving measures.
When we bought the house, I took a preemptive strike. I got me a big flat screen and put downstairs. There's a PlayStation downstairs.
Wait a minute, hold up.
I made my dog house right. And you know what? She won't put me in the dog house because he just gonna go down there and have fun.
Hold up. Let's set the record straight here, because y'all know how they like to stretch the truth. Yeah. Let's set the record straight. I bought him the big flat screen TV.
Yeah, I got her to set my stuff up for me.
The flat screen TV. And so
that's player right there. That's player.
That's player. That's real player stuff right there, player. When you can get them to hook your stuff up, that's real player stuff there.
Y'all already know.
We ain't even got into it yet, but Miss Victoria said, Lady J, you know what I told you earlier. My husband is on the curb waiting on one of his children to pick him up. She said, I wrapped him in several blankets.
I'll tell you right now.
You know what?
We had a heated argument one time, and I left the house, and this is before we weren't even married yet. I walked a long way. Next thing you know, her father pulled up next to me, coming down the road. And I'm like, what you doing? He said, man, I'm taking you home because you ain't leaving. You ain't coming up my house. So you go head back home and y'all situated. We done been there too.
Yes. So let's get into our topic. We wanted to talk about emotional wellness in your marriage. Although October was, Emotional Wellness Month, we were kind of on a little break, so we didn't get to, have this conversation with you guys. So we want to talk about this topic tonight. So while taking stock of our stress levels, it's an excellent time to make some changes to Emotional Wellness Month. make some changes that we kind of hear about during the Emotional Wellness Month. Okay, and so there are so much information and so many different resources. But when you think about these, the resources, a lot of times you hear, we're talking about emotional wellness where it concerns you, yourself, and I, me, myself, and I, where it concerns Jackie or, Key or Phil, we thinking more on the what about me. I think it's important, and I think both Key and I felt this was important that we talk about emotional wellness in the marriage, because you guys know that if things ain't right in your marriage, listen, I don't care how good stuff is on your job. I don't care how good stuff is with your girlfriends or your man friends or whatever. If things ain't right between you and your spouse, ain't nothing else right. I don't know about the rest of y'all. I can't operate. I can't, I don't function. I don't get to sleep well. You know what I'm saying? I'm thank you, Jesus. I'm beautiful and I don't have a whole lot of blemishes and breaks out in my skin. But some people have skin issues and he looking at me like some people, it affects them, their skin, it affects your stomach, and it just takes on so many different, forms. So it's important to make sure that emotional wellness is being attended to and cultivated within your marriage. I'm sorry, go ahead, sir.
Well, that's what we talked. That's what the sermon was on this past Sunday, being in alignment. And when you and your spouse are not in alignment, stuff just does not go right.
Yeah, it don't. Stuff don't go right. So with COVID-19 still hanging in the balance and the day-to-day struggles of life itself, we want to talk about emotional wellness as it relates to marriage. And so when you are emotionally intimate with your spouse, we're going to talk about being emotionally intimate with your spouse right now. You may feel as if you can see into the other's soul, knowing their hopes, their dreams, their fears, and understanding them at a deeper level. Having a strong emotional bond in marriage relationships is important, and it really is worth the effort. I did a little research behind this and I kind of wanted to have a, real clear understanding of what emotional intimacy really, what it really detailed or what it centered around. And what I found is it says it's generally defined as closeness in which both partners feel secure and loved, and in which trust and communication abounds. Intimacy in marriage is the ongoing, listen, y'all, it's the ongoing intentional process of fully knowing your spouse and being fully known by your spouse. Emotional intimacy is understanding what's going on the inside and being understood in the same way. So tonight, I just want to ask the question: how important do you feel it is to be emotionally intimate with your spouse? So those of you that are online, I want you guys to talk back to us, because we want to hear your point of view, because you don't know who your responses and your comments are going to bless and help them get on to their next level. So to me, Sean, and pass to Phil, because he Phil right now, y'all. He just Phil tonight. He right my now. Lovey. And Key, how important do you feel it is to be emotionally intimate with your spouse?
Not everybody speak.
Oh, okay. How important it is very important, because you have that thing of just you and your spouse bonding together. There's one thing that Jackie and I do, regardless of what our day is, regardless of how crazy and what thing is going on, that we're going to sit down and we're going to eat dinner together. Regardless of whatever else that goes on, that's our time. That's intentionally our time. Somebody call me, hang up. This is our time. And so that may seem like something little, but when you set that time aside, that this is our time. This is our couple. This is the time that we're going to spend together, regardless of what's going on. This is our time. Amen. So it is a very important thing, because we have that time of whatever's going on. We know at that time when we eat, regardless of the world stops, because that's our time together.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And I Michonne and I are, I want to say we're blessed enough to be equally yoked, to be on the same page. I kind of feel like we always were on the same wavelength, but we just weren't paying attention to it. We weren't as in tune and in sync with it to really realize. But, we know what each other is thinking. 99.9% of the time, we finish each other's sentences.
It's creepy sometimes.
We just, it's ridiculously creepy. I mean, to the point where you would think we would be used to it by now, but you just can never get used to having a thought and then having somebody say it out loud, and then you just be like, I literally was just thinking that.
Yeah.
And so I feel like that's a huge part of being emotionally intimate, because we know that it's important to have that physical aspect, that physical intimacy, but the emotional intimacy is just as, if not more important than that, because once you get older and parts stop working, or you too tired, or you don't feel like it, or whatever, I knew it was coming. I knew it. Once you get to that point, eventually, whether you 75 or 95, you have to have something to fall back on. You have to, be friends first, and, communicate and do all the things. So yeah, I feel like it's tremendously important.
I think I love that. First off, I'm sorry, Key. I can't let you slide on that one. Listen, y'all, if parts stop working, you better visit the urologist. They got help for you.
Hey, look, one part stop working. You got the finger.
Don't do it.
You got the palm. You got some stuff to use.
My man. Oh my gosh. Honestly, I really feel as though that's one of the biggest things in any marriage. We haven't been as married as long as some people have been, but 10 years is a very long time to go through things, to grow with each other, to learn each other. And I tell people, like my friends who aren't married or going to be married eventually, that when you know somebody, they're from the top of their head to the bottom of their feet. That gives them the reassurance that they're safe. They know that when there's nobody else that can be there for them, you can be there for them. And knowing that, it's nothing like coming home after a long day and it feels like the world didn't beat on you. You got bad news on Monday, you got bad news on Tuesday, but you have somebody who knows you, who's gonna just rub your shoulders or just whisper in your ear and say, "Baby, it's gonna be okay no matter what." And I feel as though that's more important in any marriage, that and communication than anything.
Yeah, I was gonna say that I really feel the emotional intimacy portion of your marriage is so much deeper than the physical, because it's true, you stay married long enough, there gonna be some seasons that you're gonna go through that the physical intimacy area is going to suffer, going to lack. People have surgeries, they get ill, various different things come into play, take over, when you have small children, whatever it is, some things, there are seasons that you're going to go through that is going to impact your intimacy, your physical intimacy. But when your emotional intimacy is in sync, when you're emotionally in sync together, it's doing the tango. You're in sync together, you're moving together, just being able to operate on one accord. Everything, and I'll be the first to say, listen, marriage is not for the faint of heart.
Mm-hmm.
You got to come to the table. There is what you say, warfare. Phil calls
marriage is
warfare.
warfare. There is casualties that's happened. Prisoners be taken.
You take prisoners. Yeah, it's facts. But you've got, if you are emotionally in tune with one another, and being emotionally in tune with one another, I care about his heart. I care about his feelings. I care about, it makes me take it makes me, be careful on how I say some stuff. It makes me, just respond in a different way. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes, and this is to my sisters, sometimes, listen, we women, we have the spiciest tongue. We can cut our spouses from head to toe, up, down, back, sideways, get every inch of them with 2 words. And so it is important that we be intentional about how we respond, how we, just taking care of their heart, because I trust him with my heart. Mm-hmm. I wholeheartedly trust him with my heart. I trust him with my feelings. I trust him with my emotions, because I believe beyond a shadow of a doubt that this is the man that God sent to find me. And no, he's not perfect, but he is the perfect man for me. There's nobody else out there for me. Okay? Because ain't nobody else gonna put up with my kind of crazy. That part.
Oh yeah. They crazy.
Go ahead, Key.
They crazy. They crazy. They all crazy.
We had some comments.
All women are crazy. They may be different kind. They may be white ones. They may be Chinese. They may be Filipino. They may be fat. They may be skinny. They all shapes and sizes, but there's only one crazy.
So we had a couple comments. You want to get them, Key?
You don't have to read Victoria Green's comment.
Miss Victoria said, "Preach me, Sean. Don't forget to rub them toes." And I had to read that out loud because he on camera, so he can't back out of that one. So y'all already know.
It's that time. You gotta get in there.
You gotta go to work on my feet.
He better get that tiger bomb.
Move that toe cheese out the way. Get the
wait a minute. Hold up.
Can I borrow your stuff?
There is a toe cheese rule. There's a toe cheese rule. So when she say rub my feet and you look and there's toe cheese, Michelle, you only have to do one thing.
Don't be having these people out here thinking my feet look crazy. My feet are beautiful, okay?
All right, Shanae.
Stop.
Oh, my feet look good. Oh.
Yeah. Look, is that a real thing? I know we're in a bit of conversation. But if I ever see toe cheese on her feet, Phil, you the first person I'm calling because I'm going to need prayer.
Why do I need to know about that?
I ain't going to know what to do.
Well,
y'all already.
Excuse me, let me get a cheese stick. You know what? Never mind. Don't give me no cheese steak. Just give me the steak.
Hey, Michon. My advice is keep your eye on the feet and back slowly out of the house. Don't take your eyes off of them. You got to watch them. You got to make sure they don't come after you. And then back slowly out of the house.
Cherie had a comment.
You doing it now?
Go ahead. Oh, I'm sorry. Cherie Brooks said, God be willing, in July, Michael and I will be celebrating 15 years.
Go ahead on.
Yes. And I'm just learning to be more intentional about making sure that we are both emotionally well in our marriage. Mental health matters.
Yeah.
But you know what? That is, hold up. Because that is a very good point, that you have to be intentional about it. It ain't nothing that happens by circumstance. That's got to be on your mind. You can't take it for granted. Mm-hmm. So that's a very good point of being intentional.
And before we go to you, Key, I just want to put out there too, and this is to our spouses.
Kendra, you are crazy. I'm just letting you know you are crazy.
I think it is important that if you find that you are in a dry place, if you are in a dry place and you feel like that your emotional needs are not being met and your marital emotional needs are not being met, there is nothing wrong with taking your spouse, your husband, your wife. There's nothing wrong with, sitting them down and saying, baby, we need to talk, because sometimes, and this is more, I think this is more towards the women than it is to men, but they have the weight of the world on their shoulders. They have the weight of the world on their shoulders. That their jobs are beating them down. It's becoming harder and harder to stay alive as a black man in this society.
It's hard out here
and
for
then
him.
children, it's like a whole multitude of things that are, weighing them down. They're not just concerned. It just listen. It just registered what he said.
Oh my
Yo,
God.
we be trying to be serious.
I'm a little slow.
I'm looking at him. I'm looking at me, Charlie. He's getting ready to go.
You missed it and you kept talking and we like stuck.
I got tears in my eyes.
I'm done.
Oh.
Oh my
But
God.
yes, it is important.
So,
It is
it's
important. Y'all a whole hot mess. It is important to, verbalize what it is that when you're in a dry place. Don't just stay there. Don't just, yes, we're gonna pray about it and we're gonna trust God. But we also have to be, active. We've got to, do what you gotta do.
But and you know what? On that note, like we didn't even have this in here, but since you mentioned that, and it's part of this emotional connection that we have. The love language thing is so serious because when you just sat there and said, it made the light bulb go off in my head. When you sat there and said, it's important for us to verbalize and say if someone is feeling like they're lacking something, because I know for a long time, and I'm still not there as much as I would like to be, but for a long time I don't know if he knew my love language. If he did, he acted like he didn't. But I knew his, but it was hard for me to do it because I just wasn't that person. Sean is very he's very affectionate. He's super duper duper affectionate. He likes to touch and feel and hug and be close all the time. And I'm not
I got like Xbox.
You dumb. I'm just not, there. And so trying to meet him where, we just gotta meet each other where we are, because if we're speaking different languages, then we're not in sync and we're not being intentional about those things. So now, I just try to be more aware of when it's happening, or things that I can do to try, even if I'm not all the way there, to try to kind of like meet him at the halfway point.
Yeah.
Because we want to be fair and we don't want to be selfish in this. You cannot be selfish in your marriage and expect it to survive. You just absolutely cannot.
Oh, you just dropped the nugget right there. You just dropped the nugget right there.
When she say fair, for all my fellas just get married, remember fair is 70-30. Remember that. 70-30. You gotta be careful with that.
You know what?
I'm telling you right now.
Oh my gosh.
I get half the block.
Hey, Lisa. Lisa said, I told y'all the men were going to cut up, especially Phil. And Miss Victoria said it is important to verbalize. Failure to do so will cause resentment.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we going to try to, I don't know how far we going to make it, y'all. We halfway through already and we ain't even made it to question 2, but this is what we do.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to talk a little bit about mental health status. So happily married couples enjoy better mental health status, according to researchers. They fall sick less often, have fewer instances of depression and anxiety, and suffer less from loneliness and feelings of solitude. That's big. Like before, we were researching for this. I don't think that we all realize the effects that these things, have on our physical. And so the question is, how do you feel about that statement? Is it hard to believe that a marriage can actually have these physical and mental effects on your emotional health?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Drive you crazy. Start having all kind of health issues.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Especially when they start cooking and you starving and your stomach hurt.
But sometimes I believe that they trying to kill us.
I said that for a reason. Big sis, talk about
that with
check your lunchbox.
He said that with the straight face.
In my defense, I was learning how to get through to my spouse. And so let me tell y'all a story. What he's talking about is, and I shared this a couple weeks.
This is the story that, this story could have went two ways.
Yeah.
The other way, Victory Talk wouldn't even be on the air right now.
Victory Talk wouldn't be on the air right now. We might have been married maybe 2 years, because we was on Blackfoot. We may have been married 2 years. And so we were having heated fellowship, because like we said, them first 5 years, whew, you learning how to do battle. You learning how to, what you say, Key?
Stomp on cakes, hop out the car in the middle of traffic.
Yeah.
Walk 20 miles. Gary sleep outside on the park bench.
Yeah. You learning how to bandage wounds and all that kind of stuff. Them first 5 years, don't let nobody fool you and tell you that, you on in honeymoon land, and everything is going to be wonderful and everything is going to be good. Listen. Them first 5 years, maybe them first 5 to 7 years can be your hell years. And you got to learn how to navigate the waters of marriage. So this is what was going on. Pastor Phil wasn't Phil, because he was Phil. Phil wasn't listening to me. Let me tell a story.
Phil, let me see. I'm gonna put this out there now. This is one of my homeboys that I went to high school together with. And he actually gonna put my middle name out here. Ooh. He ain't got it right, but he actually gonna put my middle name out there. Raymond, when I come to North Carolina, I will be paying you a visit. And matter of fact, I'm gonna be preaching in North Carolina coming up. So I will be paying you a visit, bro.
Hey, Pastor. You all right?
So let me tell this story. We were not on one accord. We were not in sync. We were not, we just were not.
We was on two ends of the spectrum.
We was in the same book, but we wasn't even on the same chapter. It was just bad. It was rough. At this point, we're empty nesters. The children, the older children were grown and out of the house. So we don't say I'm sorry now, bruh. the older children were out the house. So it was pretty much him and I. We were just, trying to get our feet, together in sync. But he wasn't getting it. And I'm one of those people, you can say I'm a little mouthy. Okay. I'm mouthy, strong, opinionated. I'm all of that, okay? But that's why he loves me. But he had really done something to hurt me, but he just wasn't understanding. I don't care how much I talked to him or how much I was trying to explain, he wouldn't get it. So Pastor Phil had this red lunchbox, and anybody knows him, knows that he loves to eat. And so from the door, I've always been that wife that I breakfast, lunch, dinner, I'm ironing clothes, all of that kind of stuff. So when I packed his lunch, he was working night shift, y'all. I packed his lunch with each one of his containers had a note in the container. It was just the note saying what I needed to say, and I needed it to have the impact that he really understood how deep I'm willing to hold back your food. I'm willing to cut off Not just sex, but I'm cutting off your food, okay? And so I packed his lunch container, and all of his containers inside of his lunchbox had little notes in it. And I sent him off to work with his lunchbox of notes. Needless to say, he got the point. He got the point. But let me say, there was a second lunchbox in his trunk of his car. So he did not go without eating. I did feed him. But on that last note, after he had got the point, is when he found out that he had food in his car. But let me tell y'all, I'm so glad he was working overnight because he was going to kill me.
You know, really, I was working a warehouse job. I had done touched 1,000 boxes, and I go get to my lunch, and there's these notes. Boy. I said, and you know what? I said, I'm going to read them. And each one I read, I got madder and madder. But
that's how it be.
It did sink in.
Mm-hmm.
It sunk in, and I understood. But I had to tell her, don't you do that no more. Don't you ever.
There was no need to do it anymore. Point taken. Point taken. So yeah, I really do believe, Keith, that that mental health thing. It really is important that we just. Yes, he was hungry, sunshine. Yes, he was hungry. He always hungry. I don't know when he's not hungry, but it is important for us to address that mental health in our marriage, and to connect to that. It's important to be on top of the mental health in your marriage, but it's also to support the mental health in your marriage. You have to be aware of your own personal mental health. You have to take the whatever measurements that you need to do to make sure that Jackie is mentally healthy and going in the direction that I need to go in. And when you're not, it is okay to get help. It is nothing. It doesn't make you weak. It doesn't say anything about you. It says that you are strong enough to know that you need to take care of some things. And the same thing with your marriage. When there is a disconnect in your marriage, and if you get on a season where you guys just can't get it together, you just no amount of argument, no amount of disagreeing, no sleeping on the couch or hanging out in a man cave. Ladies, no shopping therapy just is not helping. Talking to your girlfriends
shopping
or whatever is not helping. Listen, when you have gone down all of those roads and things still are not, you still can't get no peace and you can't get no work, get some help. Okay? Mm-hmm. Get some help, because we want to marry you. We don't want to be listening to the divorce stories and trying to keep you. So get some help, and y'all know, Pastor Phil and I, we are here. We open up our couch to anybody, whether we married you or not.
But you know what? Part of getting help is not because it's not. Let me say, this is my stand on this, and I want help to confirm that I'm right. Getting help is you are opening up and saying, "Hey, we have a disconnect. There's an issue, and what can we do to fill this void?" Because a whole lot of times people will say, I want to get help, and I just want you to co-sign that I'm right.
Yeah.
And, I'm sorry to cut you off. I'm very transparent. All four of us are. That's why we get along so well. But I'm genuine in my approach, and I got to keep it all the way 100. We had just recently, it's been almost a year. I don't know how long it's been, but our last our marriage counseling with you guys, we were both at wit's ends, and it was to a point where I think it was a realization moment, because all of the negativity that we brought to the table and finally expelled, in that very moment, we realized how the other one actually was feeling and what we were both missing. So I'm sitting here and telling you, oh, this one, you're not doing it. And then you didn't realize what you weren't doing. And talking to someone put that in perspective. It allowed us to start looking at ourselves to get close because you can't do anything for someone else unless you're right with yourself. So I started looking at myself, keep it the same, and we've been, no, none of us are perfect, but we've been in the best shape of our marriage like ever because I'm picking up at least one sock now. I graduated, at least I'll pick up one sock, but it's just it's always important to talk to somebody. Everybody doesn't want to volunteer to talk, but you have to when you really, really need help. Reach out, friends, family, passive fear.
Especially seeking out help before things get to the point, because I don't even think that he and I realized that we were to that point until that moment we sat down and all hell broke loose. The explosion just happened. And, so if you notice things early on, don't hold them in and don't seek out, like Lady J said, talking to a therapist, talking to a counselor. If you can't talk to each other, I'm telling y'all, like it saved our marriage because we were not hearing each other. We were like, it was crazy. I can't even explain it, but like I would think I'm verbalizing whatever, and he would think that he is, but we were not getting it like at all until that moment. And so yeah, that's definitely important.
Remember why you got into it in the first place.
Yeah.
Just remember that's important.
And I caution everybody, and I don't care how long you've been married. This is whether you just got married, Ronette, January 1st, 2022, or Miss Victoria married for 32 some years. It doesn't matter how long you've been married. I'm going to drop this on you. I encourage you, don't go to your family when you're having issues with your marriage. Don't go talking to your mama. Don't go talking to your sister. Don't go talking to your brother, because what happens is that when you and your mate work things out, your family is still going to be upset. Mm-hmm. Because naturally, your family is going to take sides. That's my sister. That's my daughter. That's my brother. You know what? Yeah. You doing them wrong. They're not going to be as easily forgiving as you are to your mate, because we're loving and we're forgiving from the heart, because that's what Christ has said of us. And when you get married and you are in love with this person, you are able to take on so much more and bear so much more of their stuff than anybody else can. You know what I'm saying? And so your family, they're not gonna understand. They're not gonna be, they're gonna, yes, Kendra, they will still be holding a grudge. So just find yourself somebody outside of your family, your family circle, because it will help you in the long run. The word of God says when you get married, you cleave to your spouse. You leave your mama, you leave your daddy, you leave your family, you cleave to your spouse. Where they go, you go. Where he eat, I eat. Well, not all of the stuff, but you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying. Yes.
But you know what? There is a thing that you have to do. And okay, so we know about getting naked. You know about when getting naked and we're gonna get in the bed. We know about getting naked. But what about being emotionally naked with your spouse? A lot of times we don't want to be emotionally naked, because then that kind of shows a vulnerability. But see, you have to be emotionally naked with your spouse. It's the only way that they're going to really and truly know you.
Yeah. And that's the only person that you can be emotionally naked with. Mm-hmm. And I hope you guys understand what we mean by emotionally naked. Like, listen, snot, cry, eyelashes, one-sided, whatever, hair might be all over the place. It really expressing or, letting you know how I feel inside, just pouring it all out with him. Everybody, you can't do that with everybody, but when you give it to your spouse, you're connected on a whole different level. You're connected on a whole different level. I think I shared this a couple weeks ago. I was talking to someone about the loss of a parent, and I said, all my life I remember my mother saying, when I'm gone, don't you cry. Don't you cry for me. Don't you cry. As long as you done right by me, as long as you did what you were supposed to do when I was alive, don't be standing over top of my casket over my grave crying. And so I held back tears from the time my mother passed, and I was in the room with her when she passed. Okay, I was the only child with her. I did not cry. I did not cry. I didn't meet this man until a year later. And then it was a whole nother year that we were having a conversation, and we were having a deep, heartfelt conversation. And I found myself, and we were talking about our mothers, because both of our mothers had passed. I found myself being able to emotionally release that with him. All of those years, I felt as though I could not cry at the loss of my mother or for the loss of my mother. But once this connection happened, and I knew I had did what I was supposed to do with my mother, because listen, we had our battles. I remember the time she knocked me down the steps, and I jumped up and kept on doing what I needed to do. So we had our time, but I did what I was supposed to do with her. So, but my crying was not necessarily because of anything that I did or didn't do. My crying was at the fact that she was no longer with me, but he allowed me to open up and release that. That's the kind of emotional nakedness that we're talking about. When we had to put our sons or leave our sons in the house and move to another house to get them to take the move in their next level and to grow.
Tell the truth. I put them out, but I gave my house to go in.
But listen, that did something to me. As a mother, that did something to me, but I could really express how I felt about that with him. So being emotionally naked, it's important, and it will help you. It will help you. So are we gonna go to encouragement next, Key? We got time?
Yeah, we got time for one more.
Okay. Encouragement and praise versus criticism and nagging. Happy couples use encouragement and praise as communication tools rather than criticism and nagging their partner to do something. So my question is, what is your approach? Do you think it is more difficult to use praise and encouragement versus criticism and nagging? What do you do to get done what you need to get done? What you do, Phil?
What do I do? No, it's what you do. You start with the nagging, and then you find out that the nagging don't work, and then you try reverse psychology and go with the praising. You don't start with the praising. You can just think stuff and you can just put stuff together. No. Now I asked you to do that 2 days ago. Wind it up, and then you know what you can. So you just kind of do it backwards, but it's all good. See, here's the thing.
Do y'all like how he immediately went to what I do?
Yeah, because
my question
I'm gonna tell you what I do. I come in there and say, I need you to do this for me right quick. Come on and talk to me. And she just goes, oh, and do it.
How many of y'all out there believe that? Go ahead, Michon.
He believed. He believed. He's a believer.
Oh my gosh.
It's weird because this question coincides with one of the questions that you asked earlier. You get an opportunity to see who a person truly is through both of these. Like my wife has, she has not low self-esteem, but at times she can be more hard on herself than she has to be. So I make sure I not to criticize. I learned that it's one of her traits. So me criticizing wouldn't help the situation. So as much as I possibly can, I give her praise every day. I tell her how beautiful she is, how smart she is, how funny she is. Because if we don't build up each other, the world's already out to break us down. I find myself nagging sometimes, but it's not directed at her. It'll be something like we were just having this conversation. It's funny last weekend. We were talking about food. She got me over here on this diet, and it's hard for me. I love to eat. I feel you, brother. All my life, I was an athlete. I love to eat. So she gave me the plate, and it wasn't. It was enough on the plate, but it wasn't enough to what I'm used to. I want a mountain of food, but that's not what I need. So I'm nagging. I'm talking about, oh man, this is like an appetizer, and it's crazy because after a while of that, it kind of hurt her feelings, and we went through the couch for 2 days. I'm not gonna say nothing to you. You're not gonna say nothing to me. Actually, it wasn't even 2 days. It was one night. But that's not gonna get you anywhere. So find your own criticisms, nag on yourself, and praise your mate, because eventually, she you laughing. I'm very serious. Nag on yourself, because I'm telling you, it's not gonna get you anywhere to keep nagging, brothers. I don't know about the sisters. Y'all gonna do nagging. Y'all gonna do what y'all do.
It wasn't, but he not telling the whole story.
They never do.
Because of that. No, they don't.
I told my side. That's my side.
Yeah, that's true, but that's not accurate.
It's three sides to a story. I told my side.
What had happened was the reason why I got mad is because I sent little Michon to ask him how much food he wanted. He specifically gave me a number.
I gotta interject.
In which I prepared.
I gotta interject.
And then he came to the table and said, "Oh man, I'ma still be hungry. Oh man, this ain't enough. What you made, appetizers?"
I didn't do all that, but at the same time, I gotta interject. She asked
You did. You might not have said it like that, but yes, you did.
She asked me, Sean.
I was ready to flip the table.
Okay, she asked me, Sean, and I said
like
6, 7, 8, 9, 10, laughing, playing around. But Michon ran right back down the stairs. He said 6. He ain't hear nothing else I said. So when she made 6, I was like, man, hey, little butterfly shrimp. Hey, Phil.
They were not little.
How many little?
They were not little.
How big is a shrimp?
A butterfly shrimp is quite large. No, that's a popcorn.
Oh,
y'all doing popcorn?
Was it this big?
We pescatarian
That's
over here.
Was it this big?
A butterfly shrimp.
That's a prawn.
Wait a minute.
No.
You Presbyterian.
Wait a minute, Miss Victoria. Because normally, you know what? And she ain't even Miss Victoria on that one. My mama says I claim her now today because she said something that's not embarrassing to me.
You don't know what she's gonna say next, though.
What she say?
My mama said because she wants the best for you, and she didn't type it, but she
had 10 egg rolls on the counter yesterday before I left the house. So don't be getting on me about what I need to do, Miss Victoria Green.
You paid. Anyway, but y'all heard him say and laughing. I was laughing and joking when I said 7, 8, 9. So you got that 6 that you asked for. And even if I would have heard you say 7, 8, 9, I wasn't.
It's not worth nagging.
That was too much.
Just eat some cookies when she go upstairs. That's all you gotta do.
I'm gonna answer my part of the question. I don't nag. I don't even like that word nagging because I feel like nag is like it's so rude. Like it's not. No, I'll politely ask you to do something, and then I'll kindly remind you. If you forget, And then I'll gently say it one more time for the people in the back.
I thought this show was big.
Hey. So, Kiara, just to let you know, just to enlighten you, just to put it into your space, that's nagging.
It's not nagging. Definition, define nagging. Constantly harassing someone to do something.
Yep, there we
That's
go.
not harassment. Sometimes you guys need gentle reminders. That's what they are.
So
You know what?
let me say this, little sister. Yes, all of that, yes, we are nagging. However, it's for their own good, it's for their benefit. And usually it's because we definitely do. We want the best for our spouses. We want the best for them. So, and I don't know about anybody else's spouse. My husband got 1,001 things on his plate a day. And is he going to forget what it is that I've asked him to do? Probably 99.9% of the time, yes, he's going to forget it. So I feel as though it's my job and my duty to remind him, to help him. He reminds me, don't you cut me off. Don't you cut me off. He reminds me, and when I need to do something, yes, Derek. Derek says, we get it. Say what you got to say, then move forward. But y'all, okay, so when we say what we got to say and move forward, y'all still forget. I've been asking, it took me a month to get dates. Gentle reminding is not nagging. That's right, Mama Sugar.
Thank you very much. That's all I'm saying.
Well, here's the thing, though. But because you ask 20 things in a day, something gets pushed out. You need to limit your request to 5 a day. After you go over 5, I lose something.
You can't. In my defense, I'm just saying that if you want to call it nagging, gentle reminding, whatever it is that you want to call it, mine be I don't fuss about trivial things anymore. Like ever since we got past that point, I'll pick up the socks or I'll kick them to the side or I'll put them underneath his pillow or something so he can smell them funky in the middle of the night if he left them somewhere. But my nagging, back to Toji. My nagging is out of love, though. Like all jokes aside, this guy has an issue with portion control. And the fact of the matter is, I'm the one that has to listen to the frustrations about the weight not moving and things happening. So I call myself trying to be helpful and help him with gentle reminders. That's too much food, baby. That's too big. You might want to cut that in half. You might want to do a little bit less, take some of that out, and I don't make
and that goes back to the crazy part that we was talking about. Because if you think you sound like that out loud, you crazy. Because she definitely sound more like, you gonna eat all that? That's a lot. I think that's too much of what she's supposed to be. I like, never mind, just put it back. I don't even want none no more.
Good. It works.
I don't even want none.
It works, y'all.
I grabbed a cup of juice the other day. It looked delicious. I don't drink a lot of juice. Grab the juice. I grabbed the cup. Hey, Phil, boy, I was about to, coming home, boy, I had the juice. I was about to push it. It's a whole lot of sugar. Put the water at, kid. Give me the water. Give me the water.
He said it just like that, too. I'm sorry.
That's on camera.
I need y'all husbands to understand something, okay?
His mouth was all ready for that juice.
I need y'all to understand the reason why, especially our black men, the reason why we are on you about what it is that you eat and you drink and that you put into your bodies is because we want you to stay around a long time. It's because we love you. We want you to be here for your families. We want to continue to make more memories. We want you to live a life that you are not just surviving in. We want you to enjoy your life. Diabetes, and we're not going to get off on that topic, but diabetes, high blood pressure, men and the gout and the joints and all that. That's why We try to help you with your portion control and your things of that nature. So, but anyway,
I thought you was just trying to make sure I lived long enough until the life insurance kicked in.
Baby boy, I'm 18 years in. My life insurance is already ready to go. I will be taken care of. I'm fine, but I still want you here.
You ever sat in a nail salon?
What?
You ever sat in a nail salon?
Yeah.
For about an hour, about 2 hours. So you've ingested all them chemicals in your nose and in your lungs just fine, huh? But I can't have a little French fry. Okay. I see how y'all do.
You said it all sugar and sweet and all of that, and I do love you and I want you to be here, but I'm just saying, bruh, you ain't leaving me with all these kids. Cause if you do, then I'm coming with you or something.
She said you ain't leaving me with all these kids.
You ain't leaving me, look. I do love them and I want them healthy. And what you said, all the things, and yes, all of that is important. But you better not go nowhere before these children get out the house.
Well, when they get out the house, make sure you go with them. I'm being here with my dog.
But wait, real quick, y'all. I know we at the top, but I want somebody to speak onto this comment because it's back a little bit when we were talking about not telling family members when we have problems in our marriage. So Wayman Wallace said, you ladies don't think that your mothers and aunts could give you good advice if you're having problems in your marriage. What about senior elders? That is interesting. So I just kind of want to know what your thoughts are on that one because he's making a good point.
Well.
Can I speak? Oh,
yeah, go ahead,
bro.
Go ahead.
I feel like sometimes, well, all people, we're human beings, we're flawed. And when something gets out in the open and in the atmosphere, you cannot take it back. So if you're going through something in your marriage, remember, this is this person's heart. This is my baby. Don't nothing or nobody in the world hurt my baby. No matter what kind of information she may be able to give, she's looking through biased eyes. So no matter what you do from here on, you're putting yourself in a position to where she might not view you the same anymore after this. Go ahead and let her hear some of the conversations that you had with your wife in intimate settings. Because I know right now, when my daughter, the first time my daughter grow up and call me and say, Dad, my boyfriend, I'm going to be at the door already. How you get here, Dad? I was waiting downstairs when y'all first got in your relationship. It's tough.
Kier, did you have something you wanted to say?
I was just going to say, I think advice is different than, giving all the gory details. And I guess by you shaking your head, that's kind of where you were going with it too. Asking advice of these people who have probably been around and been in these marriages for oogads of years and they know all of the things. Yeah, getting advice is good. But I just think that everything, certain things should be off limits. So if it's, cheating or maybe they might have said something out of pocket, to be hurtful towards you, things of that nature. Those are things that you might want to talk to like somebody else, not your family member about.
Yeah. That is exactly what I was going to say.
I know.
That's anybody.
Yeah, Keith, that's what I was going to say. I was going to speak to that. I wholeheartedly agree with you there. My aunt, who's 70, I believe my Aunt Mary is 75 or 76, somewhere in that neighborhood. And at this point, she is the matriarch of our family. And she shares marital advice. She had a wonderful marriage with my uncle Keith, who is now deceased, and she shares marital advice and tips and little things in conversations or whatever. But at the same time, I don't say, oh, Philip and I had a big blow up and what do you think I should do and this, that, and the third. I don't do that. I don't do that. And the same thing with my daughter, who's, I believe her and Torrance are coming up on 8 or 9 years married. And she does not discuss her marriage with me. She doesn't discuss her marriage with her pops, and she doesn't discuss her marriage with his family. What we did from the beginning, because we are marriage coaches. we found another couple that we know that are also marriage coaches, or our pastor who married our then pastor who married her, and we just let them know, listen, if you have marital problems, we love you, but don't come to us with it. Here's who you can go to and talk to.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Miss Victoria put it out there, just like, we were trying to say. She said, they can, but it depends on the relationship. Sometimes people judge and are biased in their opinion. So, yeah.
Back to Wyman said, but would wait a minute. No. He said, but if you're having issues in your marriage, sooner or later it's going to spill out and they're going to find out, huh? This is true, but there's a difference in you going and talking to them and telling them what's going on. If they hear it from somewhere else or they picked it up from somewhere else, they're getting hearsay. They didn't get it from you. And at that point, you can kind of address it that, hey, that's between me and my spouse, and we got this under control. So that's what, I say to that. And he also says, but would you consider going to a totally unsaved marriage counselor for advice and trust, a total stranger with your intimate knowledge? Being a woman of God, being a Christian, the word of God says, seek wise counsel. Seek wise counsel. And so I say to that is, you make sure that whomever you are going to trust with your heart in terms of the information and the knowledge of your marriage, you want to make sure that for me, they got to be Christian. They got to be Christ-like. And not only do they have to be Christ-like, I need them to be trustworthy. And so you have to make sure that when you are doing your homework and your background and, determining who you're going to trust with that vital information, make sure you do your homework.
Yeah.
Get that one.
Yeah.
Are you going to read it?
You late. There you go.
Read it.
Unbiased advice is what I'm concerned about. It's just interesting. Great topics. Yeah, it is some great topics.
Yeah. And sometimes I do believe a unbiased point of view helps you as when you're in the midst of it. I know we at the top. I know that we are a little bit over y'all, but I feel like that, these questions and these comments still should be addressed. Having somebody that is unbiased, somebody that's not on Jackie's side or somebody that's not on Phil's side, somebody who ain't got no skin in the game, somebody who, is not gonna, make or break, your relationship with them. If they say, oh, Jackie, you wrong, you nagging that man, you got to grant him some space, give him the opportunity to do what he needs to do. Or if it's somebody that says, well, Philip, you know what, when she needs to talk, you need to open up and allow her to express herself however she needs to. Because when you have somebody that's like that, it doesn't cost them anything, but they're honest. To be honest, them being honest doesn't sway in anybody's, direction.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right. Correct. Seek wise.
Absolutely.
Totally agree. Great topic. All right. That is, Key, you closing out. You got this.
Woo! All right, y'all. This was good stuff. We were talking about emotional intimacy in marriage. Very important topic. Thank you so much to everybody who tuned in tonight. We always enjoy the laughs, the chime in, the cut ups, the everything. Sometimes there's tears. Tonight there wasn't no tears. Might be some tears after the show. Psych, but we love y'all. Thank y'all so much for tuning in to the marriage edition of Victory Talk. We will be right back here next Friday night with hot topics, and the fourth Friday of next month we will be back with another marriage edition. So y'all, we look forward to seeing you back here, same time, same place, next Friday night. Hot topics, y'all already know it's gonna be lit.
Yeah.
So happy Friday again. I don't know what is going outside anymore. I think it might be still snowing. Be careful if you're traveling.
Rain.
Be careful if you're traveling then, and be careful if you have to go out in the morning because that stuff is going to freeze up and over. And as we look forward to spring, we are wishing y'all good night.
Love
Good night,
y'all.
everybody.
Mean
Love
it.
y'all.